Hello, Duelist. It is your boy Winster, and I'm back with another round of locals. We got round two, Crystron Horus Kashtira on the left versus Mermail. Before we get started on this round of local, guys, please be respectful in the comment section. Remember, we're here to have fun, we're here to learn, and it is okay to make mistakes. It's part of the game sometimes. But if you guys are enjoying this content, please consider subscribing and turn on the notification bell. Let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to start off our turn with summoning Fenrir, the classic card. And I think this is pretty good overall. I think Kashtira monsters are really strong in the current format because banishing cards face down and just going through your opponent's extra deck to rip cards with Unicorn is just absolutely insane. But we are going to read Fenrir, considering he's a little bit of an older card. I think he first came out like what, Dark Wing Blast? I can't remember when that set dropped, but we are going to search any Kashtira card, including itself. So it's just good ways to get like discard fodder if you don't want to really use too many cards in your hand. But we are going to search out the Unicorn. Now, guys, I don't know how these decks function. I'm finna be honest. So that's why I just got deck list here. That way I can make sure I try to keep up play by play. But we are going to normal summon. Looks like no effect, Simir. And then we are going to link one into Clockwork Knight. Let's go. That's a new card that came out on their most recent set. And this is going to actually allow us to search out Clockwork Knight. Not that we're even going to use that effect. We just want to get this Crystron monster into the graveyard. Then we're going to go ahead and activate the effect. And then we are going to banish to add one Crystron spell or trap from our deck to your hand. And here I thought I was going to get excited that we're going to search out Clockwork Knight. And we are going to search out the new spell card. I swear, I remember when I was reading this card for the first time. Why is it a common? It's insane that it is. But we are going to activate inclusion. This is going to allow us to add any Crystron card from our deck to our hand. And we're going to go ahead and add the Sofador, then activate Sofador effect to destroy the spell. And then we're going to go ahead and use the effect. And Sofador is going to go ahead and allow us to send two different Crystrons from our deck to the graveyard, I think with different names. And then inclusion does have a graveyard effect. You could go ahead and banish it and then target, I think, one Crystron monster in your graveyard and then special summon it. And then I think what we really want to have resolve is Sofador, but it is going to be met with the infinite impermanence. And we don't have a monster in the graveyard for the spell card. And there goes my camera acting up. And what do we have in our hand? I can't get a good look at it. I'm gonna go through the extra deck, see what options we do have. We are going to link 2. And you are locked into machines when you activate Sofador's effect. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and go into SP Little Knight. Now, this is a little bit of a misplay because we are locked into machines because we activated Sofador's effect in hand or in the graveyard to special summon itself by destroying a Crystron card you control. But it happens. Remember, this is on both of the players. You need to read your opponent's cards and you need to read your own cards. But remember, guys, we're here to learn. And we're going to set one card and we are going to pass. If we played right, we would have only had one Fenrir, which can be a threat, and if used properly, could potentially stop this deck. But I'm going to be honest, I think Mermails just have too much gas. So we're going to pass our turn, and then we are going to what looks like to be a normal summon. Okay, going through our options is important. Oh, okay, so we are going to normal summon, and in is Deep Sea Diva. Do we have a response to this? Ooh, response Forbidden Droplet. Discard one monster. And remember, guys, Forbidden Droplet does not target. And we're going to discard a Crystron card. And do we have a response to the Forbidden Droplet? Can't be met with monster effects. Doesn't look like we actually have a response to this. Okay, and then we are going to activate, and we are going to activate Abystis. I think that's that card's name. And then we are going to, because we discarded a water and it was special summoned that way, We are going to go ahead and activate. It is going to be met with the SP Little Knight. That way we can keep them off of bodies. But the effect is still going to resolve. And then at this point, I think I would personally activate Fenrir. That way we could banish the Deep Sea Diva. But that's just my opinion. And then what else do we have? We are going to activate Abyss Shiren, I think the card's name. And we're going to go ahead and tribute it itself, and then another one to either special summon a level 7 Sea Serpent Fish monster, or add it to our hand, or special summon it. And what do we special summon here? And going through our options again, this is okay to do, guys. I mean, it looks like you already discarded the Coelacanth. Are we gonna add the guy that like makes you like discard cards or something like that? I don't know what that guy is. It looks like a Sidra. And then we're gonna go ahead and trigger effect. Chainlink 2, the monster on field. Okay, so Shadow Squad is gonna go ahead and special summon a monster from the deck, Atlantean or Mermail. And then Poseidra is going to go ahead and bounce a monster from the field back to the hand. And then that should clear out the Fenrir. And then at this point, unless there's no other hand traps, I think that's going to be all the interaction that the deck is going to have. Yeah, but the last thing that resolves was a monster effect, so we still would be able to trigger the Fenrir, even though it's going to get bounced back to hand. And then we are going to special summon Neptibus, I think this is the card's name. And then we're going to continue on with our play here. So crazy how these all cards function, man. You like, if they're discarded to activate a water effect, it's so insane what they could do. But just going over our options, reading cards, it's extremely important. And then here we're going to see what looks like the second copy of Poseidra. And then Neptibus's effect is absolutely insane. You could go ahead and discard or send from the deck to the graveyard as cost to add an Atlantean other than itself. Well, it's such a freaking broken effect because it senses at cost, so it'll still be able to trigger cards like get negated. And so here we are sending the Dragoons, and then we're gonna add Dragoons, and then Dragoons effect, which was once per turn. And then here we're gonna add the Moongesia. This card is absolutely insane, man. When this card is like special summon, you could discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. This deck rips you so freaking much, which is absolutely insane. I was playing against a Mermail deck, and they like banished my entire hand. They banished 1, and maybe discard 2, then activated Trishula, and I'm like, bro, like, can I please just play the freaking game? But this is just so much advantage at this point, right? I mean, you are essentially setting up your board and just gonna overlay. You could synchro, you can do whatever you want. And then here we're gonna go ahead and activate the Poseidra from hand to special summon itself. And then we're gonna go ahead and do a little bit of explaining on what effects we're actually activating here. Again, guys, sorry if I'm not too knowledgeable about this deck. I am literally reading cards as they are being activated. What these players should have done and what they're currently doing, which is just absolutely insane. So just explaining everything. I appreciate everyone and their patience. Thank you so much. And then we're gonna go ahead and activate Emptibus, right? Because it was discarded. And then we are going to special summon the squad. And then we're going to activate squad, and I think that makes everything level 7 on the field. And then we're going to go ahead and discard Dragoons effect. Why is this card not once per turn? I mean, I get it, though. It's a pretty old deck, and then some of these effects are just built that way, right? But we're going to go ahead and activate Dragoons effect, search the Incubus, and then we are going to make everything level 7 on the field. We're going to go ahead and overlay, and then that is going to special summon from the graveyard. And this should be enough for game. Crystron player scoops, and then we are going to go right into game number 2. Before we go into game number 2, of course, gotta give a shout out to my YouTube channel members. Shout out to Steve, Fox, Nana Bread, Badgie Ubel, Yu-Gi-Oh player, Andresia, Hunter, Jay, Corey, Quick, Gabby, Jared, Leo, Devin, Anthony Looney, Staying Young, Why Me, and Thomas Me. Thank you so much for the support, guys. I appreciate it. For those wondering what you get when you become a channel member, you guys get early access on all full videos. You guys get a shout out on every single full video, and you guys get request games with me on Master Duel Yu-Gi-Oh Pro at a time that best works for us. If you guys made it this far into the video, please consider subscribing. Absolutely free if you can't become channel members, and turn on the notification bell. That way you guys can stay up to date. But jumping into game number 2, we are going to go ahead and activate the inclusion. And inclusion is going to go ahead and let us add a Crystron card. And this is a phenomenal starter for the deck. And typically, I don't think that Mermails really play a lot of hand traps. But we are going to add the Sulfurdor. I always forget this card's name. And we are going to activate the effect of Imseti. Oh, wow. I did not see that coming. And then we are going to go ahead and add the Sarcophagus. And then we are also going to get a 1 draw. Hopefully we don't get a draw here. Doesn't look like we don't. And what do we go into? Now we have like potentially rank 8 plays. And then we potentially have like rank, I think 11 plays, rank 10 plays. We just have so many options with this. We're going to activate Sarc and then Sarc effect. We are going to discard to send a Horus card on over to the graveyard. And we are going to send out the trap card. I think that trap card's a 1 of actually. Yeah, they typically don't play more than 1 copy of that. So it's unfortunate that we had a discard, but it be what it be. We're going to send the Happy. And now we have a rank 8 play, yes. And we are going to go into what I think is Photon Lord, yes. Now we have the Nibiru proof with the big old booty. 3,000 defense monster, which is absolutely insane. Now, guys, you see that glare that's showing up on screen? This is what's making me want to record from top down. Usually I record at an angle, and the angle has just been giving me too many problems. I managed to go through my video settings to record matches, and like it does look a little bit better. Again, thank you for your patience through all that, but I think I'm going to try my best to record from a top down. That way we avoid any type of glare, because that is absurd. I can't even read that freaking card on that side of the field. But just going through our plays and making sure that we have the ability to continue on. We're going to activate the effect of Fenrir, and then we'll discard a card, special summon itself, pop itself, and because it was popped, it's going to go ahead and special summon. And to start, is going to allow us to quick synchro during our opponent's turn. And then we are going to go ahead and activate Sulfurdor, and we're going to pop the inclusion, and then we are going to activate Sulfurdor's effect to send 2 Crystron cards with different names on over to the graveyard. A way much better start than what we had last time, guys. And we do have the Tiger in the graveyard to add a spell or trap, but it's not going to be too much because they usually only play a 1 of the trap card. And here we're just going to go ahead and explain what we can do. And then Tristaros is pretty good because when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you special summon 1 Crystron monster from your deck other than this card. And immediately after it resolves, quick synchro into a machine synchro monster using monsters you control, including that monster. And then here we are sending out the what looks like Thesterian. I have no idea how to pronounce that. And then we are going to go into Synchro. And then we are going to Synchro Summon into Ecclesiastes. I'm mispronouncing that. We're going to add a Crystron card from our graveyard back. And then we're going to activate Tristaros to pop the Synchro on field to special summon. And then that would also trigger the Synchro monster as well to special summon. We get a lot of recursion here. As long as we end with like a Tristaros, we'll be able to quick synchro on our opponent's turn. And just going over our targets. And yeah, the synchro is going to trigger special summon 1 from the graveyard. And we are going to go into an overlay. those two rank 5 monsters, it looks like. And we're going to go into Nova, into an Infinity. Wow, that's absolutely crazy on what we're ending here. I always forget that you could go into Infinity because 2 level 5 monsters just go into Nova that are light. And then Nova goes right into Infinity. We got a Monster Negate, an Omni Negate. And then we are going to activate the effect of Inclusion. We are going to banish it and then special summon Crystron monster from the graveyard. And then we end on the Tristaros, which is the quick synchro. We have a Monster Negate, an Omni Negate, and we are also looking like we're setting 2 cards. Pretty good end board as compared to last time. Just losing to 1 Infinite Impermanence is just really difficult, I guess, versus deck. We're going to pass turn, and then the Mermail deck is going to go ahead and get started. We have a pretty big wall to climb, especially in terms of like interactions with our opponent. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do it, but with a Forbidden Droplet that I just saw in their hand, they just might be able to. And just explaining what things do. And then Tristaros activates when your opponent activates a card or effect. You get special summon 1 Crystron monster. And then if you do, immediately after resolve, just quick synchro. That's crazy. And what are our best targets in the graveyard? Let's see. The usual suspects are just another Crystron synchro level 7. Or you could go into the FA Dawn monster, and then that's like the spell trap negate. I mean, depends on what you summon out, right? I mean, you could also go into the Geisha as well, which is another option. I mean, it's pretty good options in my opinion. The Spell and Trap Negate is pretty strong. But we're just reviewing what we could do. I see an Ash, a 1-for-1 Forbidden Droplet squad. And just going over our options here and just really thinking about it. Remember guys, it's okay to take your time. It's important to always consider what your options are. And it's pretty difficult. And then like even if this board is broken, like it's gonna be difficult to kill. Not that like the deck itself has like not enough ways to kill, but it's just you have to go through so much and you have to use so many resources to even just break the board, right? And then if you don't kill, you just set up, you'll have so much follow-up with like the King Sark. It looks like we want to start off with the Forbidden Droplet. We want to negate the Photon Lord and maybe the Infinity here. So we're going to activate the Abyss monster. We're going to discard the squad, and then that is going to be met with the Photon Lord, which should negate and what is this gonna be met with? Forbidden Droplet. What are we discarding? Are we gonna discard 1-for-1 and Ash? I mean, Ash isn't gonna be too big of a factor here, so I can understand Ash. But I mean, I don't know enough about the Mermail deck to really justify the 1-for-1. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and discard the 2. And we're just going to think over. I mean, the obvious answers here are just the Photon Lord and the Infinity. That way we could allow the Abyss monster to resolve. And it looks like Forbidden Droplet will resolve. And it is going to negate those 2. But we still have the ability to use the Tristaros to quick synchro. And again, and it is going to be met with it emphatically. And then we are going to special summon. And then here we are going to quick synchro. So we options for 9. Let me see what are the options for 9, guys. And we are going to go into Quaggy Drax. That's insane. It could discard a synchro summon. You could target 2 monsters your opponent controls and their graveyard up to the numbers of synchro materials used for the synchro summon. We're gonna banish 3 freaking cards. That's insane, and I know I mispronounced the name, but that's a crazy freaking card, guys. And then on a new chain, we're gonna banish all 3 monsters. That is crazy. Okay, and we are gonna scoop. Yeah, there's not really much you could do. Wow, that is a crazy freaking card, man. I've never been hit with it. Maybe it's just I stop my opponent before they get to that point. But god damn, that's crazy. And I mean, they're just like talking it over. On to game number 3, though. Time to get started in the all-important game 3. That dragon is just so crazy, and the way he just like banished the monsters on the field, the card in the graveyard, there was nothing else you could do after that. Especially wasting 2 cards, right? With Forbidden Droplet, even though you needed Forbidden Droplet to resolve. Just such a freaking crazy effect. So we're gonna go ahead and start off the turn, of course, with Pike. And Pike effect, when it's normal summoner special, you discard a card, and then you are going to add a level 3 or lower monster, and then we are going to go ahead and add the Shadow Strike monsters, and then from here we are going to look into our opponent's hand, and then we are going to banish 1, and I see Triple T, Sark, Imseti, and then the Crystron cards. And we're just gonna read Imseti. They're kind of old now, honestly, which is freaking crazy. I think here, I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's gonna come back. And okay, we're gonna go ahead and continue with our combo. And what do we do here? We're going to pull out the phone and just go through our messages. We're going to read TikTok. We're going to go over Twitter, formerly known, or now known as X, formerly known as Twitter. And then we are going to activate some effects so we can continue on. And we got a Abyss Shrine, and we're going to go ahead and discard or send a monster as cost the graveyard to add another card. It's so crazy how that card is, man. Like, who thought of that? Sending it as cost. Like, come on, bro. And then we are going to add Abyss Shrine. I do feel that we are going to get ripped 3 cards from our hand now. I think the whole reason for like banishing is just for like hand knowledge, right? Because we like to know. And then we are going to go into special summon from the deck. Super Ancient Deep Sea Coelacanth. I always call this card Coelacanth, but it's Coelacanth. And then we're gonna go ahead and summon out this guy, and it's gonna rip 2 more cards at random from our hand. And just as long as it's not Triple Tactics Talons. Oh, the Sark. There goes the whole horse engine, and of course we're gonna send the Triple Tactics Talons. That sucks. Now we have 2 cards in hand, and we're gonna go ahead and continue to go on through our combo. And then we're going to go into this guy, and we're going to summon out the Totally Awesome. And it's so crazy because now this should trigger out the Dragoons because it was used for water monster effect. That's so freaking crazy, man. I remember the first time I ended up seeing that. And then Dragoons is just going to give us even more resources. And then we're going to add Poseidra. I always forget what that Poseidra does, like the regular like monster. And of course, you just like special summon it from your hand by discarding a water. And this card is normal or special. You could send 1 Atlantean Mermail from your deck to your graveyard, then target 1 card your opponent controls, return it to the hand. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? And then we are going to go into what looks like a Link 3 or a Link 2, excuse me. And then yeah, Coral. And then that is going to summon out the Shadow Strike again, and then we are going to link, or excuse me, not link, overlay. What are we going to go into here? And oh, okay, so we made everything level 7. Okay, and then we're gonna summon Deep Sea Coelacanth. I almost called it Coelacanth, guys. I'm awful. I know. I just told you to call it Coelacanth, and I just said Coelacanth. Embarrassing. And then we're gonna overlay into the Poseidon Exceed monster. Oh wow! And then we're gonna link those two off. What are we gonna go into here? Abyss Keeper. Okay. Okay. And then we are gonna go into Abyss Lycia. I'm mispronouncing the hell out of that, but we're gonna go ahead and now activate the Coelacanth, and then we're gonna go ahead and summon out the 3, discard a card, and then we're just gonna continue on with our combo. We're gonna go into Trishula, banish. So freaking crazy. This exact rip happened to me. Like, who thought that that was a good idea, bro? But I guess in hindsight, right? Like, who really knew what Trishula was gonna be used into this? And then we are going to summon out the Mermail King Neptibus. And we're just going to continue on with this combo, man. Like, this combo is freaking crazy. You know what this combo reminds me of? It reminds me of, like, plant decks. They just find a way to just combo. But the fact that this deck could rip your cards from your hand are just absolutely insane. We are 1 card left. And we are going to add the Gluttonous Fish monster. I think this thing could be like special summon. It could special summon any target 1 fish or sea serpent aqua monster in your graveyard equal lower than this card, and then special summon its effects are negated. Not that that freaking matters. We just need the body, right? And then we are going to synchro into White Aurora, which is a level 7 monster. Yeah, man, this is looking like a board that is almost unbreakable. And then Gluttonous is going to summon out the monster. I don't know, man. With 1 card, I really doubt that you're going to be able to break that card, this board. But like at the end of the turn, Insetti's going to come back to you, so that's pretty good. But given our opponent knows so much hand knowledge about us, so I don't know if we're going to be able to push through. Okay, so we are going to pass turn on an Omni Negate, and it looks like we have the Synchro 10. They usually play this or the Ice Shade monster, but here we're going into, oh my god, I forgot his name, Sovereign. I forget his freaking name. So we're going to draw a turn, get the City back to our hand. And how do we even break this, man? We are going to activate Insetti and discard the Crystron card. And do we negate this? Is it going to be met with a Toad? Toad tributes its cost, and then you negate it. And then if you do destroy that card, then you could set it on your side of the field. Is it going to be met with the Totally Awesome? It looks like it is. Okay, we're just reading before we hard commit. I think it's the easy answer, right? Like, we just gotta negate this because that would be the last card, and we already know these 2 cards, so we're only banking that our opponent didn't top deck anything that they'll be able to play. It's gonna be met with the Totally Awesome Tribute as cost, and then it is gonna be met with the Dominus Impulse because it's gonna be setting it on their side of the field. That means it's gonna be special summoning. What? That's crazy. Let me read Totally Awesome. Hold up. During high prayer turn, when an opponent activates a spell or trap or a monster effect, you could send 1 aqua monster from your hand or field from your field to the graveyard. Negate its activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Then you could set it on your side of the field. Yes, it is special summoning the Insetti, even though it's special summoning face down. Guys, in the comments, let me know, how would this ruling go Here they just end up calling like judge because they needed some clarification. But that's like absolutely insane. I mean, yeah, because it sets it on the field, but it's special summoning it. Because it's special summoning it, Dominus Impulse has the ability to negate it. But it doesn't specifically say special summoning. It just says set it, but it's still doing that. So it does meet the requirements. Guys, let me know in the comments section. I'm pretty sure he's good on this, and I'm sure that it is going to negate it. Wow, that's a crazy freaking play. I'm going to be honest, guys. So the guy on the left, his name is Chase. He's a pretty good player, in my personal opinion. He's really knowledgeable about the game. Honestly, I wouldn't have saw this. And anytime I've ever interacted with him, he's pretty knowledgeable about the game with like very tough like rulings like this. That's crazy. If it's so like this, that's crazy. That is crazy. Impulse, what a freaking card. But that would allow the Imseti to resolve. And then on top of that, he's going to get a draw. That's crazy. I remember when I was like playing like horse monsters, I always had it out like my second copy of King Sark. I didn't really see a need to like really play the second copy, but you know, Chase is a better Yu-Gi-Oh player than I am. And it looks like he should be adding that sarcophagus. Yeah, Totally Awesome is off of the field. And it looks like he ended up looking up something to show the opponent. Yeah, this is how it resolves. That's crazy, man. That is crazy. But yeah, remember guys, it's also okay to call a judge, man. If you always feel like maybe something isn't being like done right, or if maybe you don't feel like the ruling's 100%, that's why they're there for. They're literally there to help you out with rulings like this. This is such a specific niche ruling. But yeah, the judge does come through and does look like they are going to rule in Jason's favor. Imseti is going to be able to resolve, and Dominus Impulse is going to be able to negate the Totally Awesome. Here, they're just explaining, guys. That's so crazy. I am, like, the Crystron play, even though that's, like, standard for the engine, it's just hype, right? Like, I'm freaking hype. And then Imseti will resolve. And then Imseti is going to go ahead and get the Sark. And then we're going to get a draw. So we refresh our hand somewhat. But is it enough? Is it enough to play through this board? And then here, we should still be able to get the other effect of Totally Awesome. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one water monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And they're really close on time here. So that's why they're looking up. And then here, he should be getting boosted and the attacks reduced of their monsters, because we do have banished. And then we are going to activate the Crystron monster in the graveyard, which is going to let us banish the card and then add a spell or trap that's Crystron. We're going to add the inclusion, and the inclusion is going to let us add a Crystron card. Oh, we are getting this party started. What a perfect discard for the Imseti, in my opinion. Hindsight is 2020. We're kind of glad that we didn't get that card discarded, right? Because we wouldn't be able to play. Oh no, it doesn't even matter, because it would have been discarded. Would be able to discard, still activate the effect. And then now we got the Sark. And what do we do now? What is up? What is our follow play here? Imseti's gonna special summon itself. We are going to send it to the graveyard. Oh, okay. So he's just explaining. Excuse me. I was a little confused there. I was like, why is it back in the graveyard? But yeah, it's inherent. It doesn't activate. Just like Fenrir, Dia, Bellstar. And then again, explaining what your cards do. Okay, so he's trying to activate the effective chaining. Oh, we're going to activate inclusion. And that's going to allow us to add a card. Do we have any kind of interaction? Okay, we're going to activate Abyss Shrine. And what do we do here? We're going to get a draw 1. And then we are going to add sulfur. Oh my god, these names. Sulfur. I'm freaking mispronouncing that. And then you can go ahead and target a Crystron card you control. Destroy you and special summon this card. This card is special summon and send 2 Crystron cards with different names from the deck to the graveyard. So we'll go ahead and interrupt that. Activate Poseidra. And then because one of the cards was sent to the graveyard or removed, this is going to go ahead and allow us to... Oh my god, so much interaction. But considering that we are very close to time, I think it's very, very important to go into battle. And at least like swing over something so you could like be ahead in life points. And then that is going to go ahead and send the Changing. I mean, instead he has done its job. It's going to get rid of an important card. But I don't think that's going to be enough, which is going to be the problem here. Yeah, if you get rid of the Sark, that it literally gets rid of the entire engine. Yeah. Okay, so you got a clear board. And then how do we play through this? Okay, so we didn't get the ability to like fully resolve or to use the Sulfur Door so we could destroy the Crystron card. We have no cards on field. And we are going to normal summon. And then we're probably going to end up destroying that. Oh my gosh. Then we're going to send it to... Wow. Okay. Pretty big brain play here. And they're so close on time, guys. I swear, they keep calling time like every other second or looking at the clock. I was watching this match as it was going on. And it was like really freaking close. Just thinking through our plays here. Again, I don't know if they got a time extension because they did call a judge. And that did take up a lot of the time. But when I was watching them, maybe it was a misstep. They weren't close to time. Or excuse me, they did like they were close to time, but I didn't hear like a judge say like, you know, time or anything or time extension. So just going through our play, thinking about the options. I mean, coming close to time, I think it's very, very important to move as fast as you can. Yeah, and they end up calling time like around this point right here. So ultimately, they end up rolling for it because we don't like having draws. So, this was a phenomenal play. If you guys are enjoying this content, please sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hopefully you guys had a good day. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Shout out to the players. Thank you so much for allowing me to record. Have a good one.